Hey guys, welcome to my ThrillerAthon TBR. ThrillerAthon is a readathon about thrillers. So you're reading all sorts of like thriller, mystery, suspense books. This is the third round of ThrillerAthon. The first round took place in February of last year. Second round took place, I believe, in August. Yeah, I believe it was in August. And then this is round 3. This month it will take place between the 18th to the 24th, and it is hosted by Harriet Rosie. I'll link her channel down below in the description. There is 6 challenges for this round. The first challenge is to read the thriller that you've been most anticipating. The second challenge is to read the thriller that's been on your TBR the longest. Looking at my notes. Read the thriller that's been on your TBR the longest. The third one is opposite. Read the thriller that you most recently added to your TBR. Excuse me. The fourth challenge is to read a book with the best cover. So that's subjective, of course. Like, you choose which you think has the best cover. Challenge number 5. Revisit a thriller book or author. And challenge number 6 is read a thriller that's been recommended by someone. So you could also double up on these challenges as well. I like to challenge myself and just have a book per challenge, but by all means, if you want to double up, go on ahead. So yeah, we'll get right into the books. So for challenge number 1, read the thriller you've been most anticipating. I chose Watching You by Jewell. This book is about a town where a murder took place. Oh, sorry, I have the book upside down. Jeez, Lou. A murder took place in a town amongst neighbors, and basically it's trying to take you through like which neighbor had like a motive to do it, and try to figure out like, which I can't even talk. Which neighbor committed the crime. Second book I chose, it's for read the thriller that's been on your TBR the longest. And this is The Birthday by Wyer, which I don't have a physical copy of. I have the audiobook on Audible. Yeah, on Audible. I'm not technological yet, so I won't be leaving the picture and whatnot over here because this is new to me. Maybe down the road I could start putting things in the corner, but yeah, that book's The Birthday by Wyer, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's about a little girl that like disappeared on her birthday, and like a detective is following up on what actually happened to her, some sort. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it's about. For challenge number 3, read thriller that you most recently added to your TBR. And at the time of the announcement of ThrillerAthon, excuse me, I'm like going through it right now. At the time of the announcement of ThrillerAthon, the book that was recently added to my TBR was Only Daughter by Snoekstra. Obviously, I'm not going to add something that's I recently added to my TBR, because by the time the readathon starts, which is in a few days, it'll be impossible for me to get my hands on the book. So what I did was I chose the thriller I recently added at the time that the readathon was announced. So again, that's Only Daughter by Snoekstra. And this book is about a 16-year-old girl that disappears, and 11 years later there's an imposter of her. An imposter comes like into her family and whatnot, and like basically, you know what imposters do, try to be you, look like you, But there's a lady, well, I don't know if it's a lady or a man, but there's a detective on the case, I guess basically trying to figure out what happened to the 16-year-old girl, the one that actually went missing. And the person that's playing the imposter soon realizes whoever like was responsible for her disappearance is still out there. So I believe, it takes us through what happened to the 16-year-old girl and the imposter. Challenge number 4. Read a book with the best cover. Again, subjective, but I chose All These Beautiful Strangers by Elizabeth Klehfoth. To me, this cover is gorgeous. Out of all the books that was on my TBR for thrillers, I looked at this and I was like, this is it. This is it. I mean, it's probably the longest book out of all the books on my TBR. So it might be a little challenge getting through this, but if I gotta read it 2 times speed, because I got an audio to go with this too as well, then by all means, I'm gonna get through this book one way or the other. But this book is about a woman who vanished, leaving behind her daughter. And then years later, her daughter is now older, and she wants to figure out like the mystery, what happened to her mom, and like I guess like the mystery behind her family. So she joins this like elite society at her school or whatever, and she soon comes to find out, a lot of things. So that's what this is about. Challenge number 5. Revisit a book or author. For me, it's both the author and the book, and that is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. Sorry, I don't know what my library did to this book. They don't listen. But yeah, this was my favorite thriller of 2018 last year. I actually read this for Spookathon, 5 stars. I recommend this to anyone. Like, I love this book. I mean, it kind of just jumps right into everything real quick or whatever. This is the book I chose to revisit. I also have the audio on Audible, so I'll read that. I'll listen to that while reading the physical copy of this book. But this basically is about a lady who has a medical condition. I believe it's called agoraphobia, something like that. And basically, like, she's like afraid to leave her house and whatnot. So she kind of just doesn't leave her house at all. Like, she just doesn't. And as she doesn't leave her house, she watches her neighborhood from her window, from her home. And she gets these new neighbors that move in across the street from her. And she, she's casually watching them. Like, she watches the rest of the neighborhood. And one day, as she's looking inside of their house, she thinks she sees something very suspicious. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to give away too much because this book is truly amazing. But this is my number 5 challenge. And for challenge number 6, read a thriller that's been recommended by someone. I originally had a thriller for that challenge, and come to find out, it wasn't really considered a thriller after all. So I recently had to change that about just a day ago. What I will be reading now in place of the original book will be Don't Look Back by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I'm waiting for the physical copy from my library. It should be ready hopefully by the time the readathon starts. I mean, even so, I have plenty of books to get me started until that comes in, but it's on the way. And I also have the audiobook as well. But that book is basically about a girl and her best friend that disappears. And the main character that disappears comes back, but she has no memory of what happened the night her and her best friend disappeared. And basically she's now older and she's trying to figure out what happened back then, but someone knows something and they don't want those answers to come out. So that should be interesting. And yeah, those are my 6 books for readathon. If you'll be participating in ThrillerAthon, let me know. What books will you be reading? Leave them below in the comments. Maybe it's something I don't have on my TBR yet. I'm constantly adding thrillers to my TBR. And yeah, I'd love to check it out as well. So happy reading. Enjoy ThrillerAthon. See you guys in the next time.